Could we see DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, turn billions in government savings into $5,000 checks for every American? And what exactly does DOGE do? And how does it fit or not fit into our government? I'm Attorney Andrea, and I'm gonna break it down. For the past few months, the four-letter word on everyone's lips has been DOGE. And no, I'm not talking about the meme coin, your friend's crypto obsession, or the furry mascot of the internet. I am talking about the Department of Government Efficiency, or as the cool kids call it, DOGE. Now the latest twist, there's talk that the president's administration might use DOGE savings to cut Americans a check. Potentially $5,000 per taxpayer. Yep, free money. But before you start planning your yacht purchase, let's dig into it. What exactly is the Department of Government Efficiency? Think of it as the government's Marie Kondo, but instead of tidying up your closet, it's supposedly trimming federal spending. Created under the Trump administration and led by special government employee Elon Musk, yes, really, well, at least for the time being, since there's talk that he may be stepping down soon. DOGE's mission is to slash waste, cut red tape, and modernize the government. At least that's the pitch. In reality, it's mostly been about firing a lot of federal employees. We're talking thousands of jobs across agencies like the Department of Education, the CDC, and even the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. And yet, what are the savings so far? Well, it's hard to say, as experts have criticized DOGE, claiming its figures consistently include inaccuracies and inflated numbers. So we don't really know. What have they done so far? Well, besides firing people and making vague promises about government efficiency, DOGE has been aggressively pushing the idea that the US government is riddled with waste, fraud, and abuse. And listen, they might have a point. Who among us hasn't questioned why the Pentagon spends $10,000 on a single toilet seat? But slashing government spending is easier said than done. Historically, every administration has tried cutting waste, but the biggest expenses like Social Security, Medicare, and defense are pretty much untouchable. It's like saying I'm gonna save money by canceling my gym membership. Not sure the move will turn you into a millionaire. Here's where things get legally complicated. Can the government actually take savings from spending cuts and distribute them to taxpayers? The short answer is not really. The US government isn't a cashback rewards credit card. The way federal budgeting works, any savings would typically go towards reducing the current government deficit of $1.8 trillion, not to issuing refunds like a department store accepting your return on your new sweater. The only way for this to actually happen would be if Congress passed a law allocating the savings to taxpayers. And since Trump took office, Congress can barely agree on what day it is. More significantly, DOGE has some serious legal challenges ahead of it, as the Trump administration has actually been sued by the National Security Counselors for establishing DOGE, and by the Public Citizen Litigation Group for giving DOGE access to sensitive data. So the legality of DOGE is entirely in the court's hands. Now let's say hypothetically this actually did happen and the DOGE dividend was real. How would it affect you? On one hand, free money sounds great. On the other hand, throwing billions of dollars back into the economy could be like tossing gasoline on the inflation fire. Remember the pandemic stimulus checks? Yeah, those were a double-edged sword. People loved them, but they also contributed to the rising price of eggs. Plus, if you don't pay income taxes, which about 40% of Americans don't, you wouldn't see a dime of that money anyway. Now we have to talk about the elephant. DOGE, as in Dogecoin. Could it be that Elon Musk, one of Dogecoin's biggest supporters, is somehow tying this government program to his favorite meme coin? While there is zero official connection, it's hilarious that Doge, the department agency, is now being linked to Doge, the cryptocurrency. At this point, we wouldn't be shocked if Musk suggested issuing the refunds in Dogecoin. But all jokes aside, Elon Musk's leadership of the Department of Government Efficiency has raised significant concerns about potential conflicts of interest, given his extensive business ventures that frequently interact with federal agencies. Under Musk's direction, Doge has targeted several federal agencies that oversee or have ongoing investigations into his companies. For instance, Doge has scrutinized NASA, with which Musk's SpaceX holds substantial contracts. This dual role, overseeing an agency while benefiting from its contracts, presents a clear conflict of interest. Additionally, Doge's actions have affected the FAA and the SEC, both of which have regulatory authority over Musk's enterprises. Unsurprisingly, ongoing investigations into SpaceX by these agencies have reportedly been delayed or put on hold following Doge's involvement. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. If you want to find out exactly the extent of the conflicts of interest, I'll link my other video where I go into the conflicts at length at the end of this video. So let's get real for a second. Will you actually see a Doge check in your mailbox? Well, experts are skeptical that Doge can actually achieve spending cuts needed to fund this. What needs to happen for Doge payouts to become a reality? Well, Congress approval for starters. Congress would have to step in and approve the payouts. Even if approved, the government is more likely to use the savings to reduce the deficit rather than issue $5,000 checks to taxpayers. Also, the legality of the president's creation of Doge is being contested, which could impact how long Doge even exists. Let's just say, don't bet your rent money on it. Not to mention, with the whole legality of the president's creation of Doge being contested, there's no telling how long Doge will even be around. So what do you think? Should the government actually send out Doge dividend checks? Do you think Elon Musk is running the world at this point? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts on Doge and the refund checks. Until next time, I'm Attorney Andrea. Thank you for watching.